hand no problem.
Good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from the Rustic log cabin in Northern Maine. Welcome to my cabin this morning. I've decided that I would have coffee out in the new fish house this morning. I will start fishing tomorrow. Today I got 2 shacks that are pulled out. I'll finish prepping them. The new one mainly just got to prep it with tackle and all that. Different tools that I need for the ice fishing where I'm going to put this one. So I'll get all that done today. And then tomorrow I'll move out the older ice shack because that's going further down the lake, down where I fish for whitefish. And then the following day I will move this one out and I'm going to put this one where I fish for cusk. So I'll have one shack that'll be set up for whitefish and also salmon and all kinds of stuff where that shack is going. And I'm trying new water for this one, shallow water, beach sand, and just looking for the big cusk that are coming in to spawn this time of year. But what I wanted to talk about today in this video is I'd like to do a little bit of a follow-up on is your head buried in the sand? And the reason I'm going to do the follow-up is I had a lot of great comments, but I also had a couple of comments that made me think a little deeper as well. So I appreciate the feedback. One of the comments that I can remember off the top of my head was from My 2 Cents. And I liked his comment because it made me think. And it made me, number one is maybe I didn't completely cover everything in the first video about having your head buried in the sand. But you can only do so much in a 10 to 15 minute video. So maybe I just felt maybe I should go just a little bit further. I think his point was that if everything hits the fan in this country, that thousands of people would run to the woods and there wouldn't be enough animals or enough space and all of that. And he's absolutely right. But my thought behind that is if people have waited that long, they really have waited too long. This is a lifetime experience. I have been hunting and fishing since I was a little boy. It's not that simple. It's not that easy. There are some fish that are very easy to catch, like your panfish and all of that. But it's still going to take some tools. It's going to take a little bit of know-how just to know where to go find the good ones. And so I think that's where, I don't want to be misleading in these videos either, but if your bug out plan is to run to the woods when everything goes sour, you're too late. My thought behind these videos is make a plan where you live. You know your circumstances. You know what's around you, whether it's 100 square miles around you, whether you're in the city or whether you're in the country. You know what's in your area. And what I was trying to cover in that video by showing how to make a chili to feed a family for 2 or 3 days is that you could put almost anything in that chili. Or you don't have to put anything in it. You don't have to have meat in a chili. But my point was, is that can of beans probably only cost a couple dollars. The tomatoes the diced up tomatoes, the same thing. Can't cost that much. My wife does the shopping, so I really don't know the prices of these things. But I know that a couple dollars, maybe $5 or $6 you'd have tied up in that chili that would feed a small family at least 2 or 3 days, I would think. Now, it's only me and my wife now, so I can only judge things by how we eat things. I know when I make a chili, it'll last me here at the cabin about 4 days. And that's why I make it, so I don't have to cook at night when I come home. But if your bug out plan is to run to the woods, you have to keep in mind that there's already people out there. I don't care where you go, there's already people out there, and they're not going to be very welcoming to you if you show up in their piece of woods, because they know that the crap has hit the fan too. So they're going to want to be more protective of their hunting grounds, where they fish, all of that stuff. So if your bug out plan is to run to the mountains, you're going to find out that the mountains aren't going to be your place of refuge for a lot of reasons. You can go for a walk out here in the wintertime a long ways before you find something to eat. So if you run up here to run out in the woods and get yourself a meal, you're going to be like all them starving pilgrims that you find on them TV reality shows, of Alone, all that other stuff. They're out there starving to death, eating mice. That's not my idea of surviving. That's not surviving. That's why some of them have to get hustled out of there and run to the hospital because they're so close to death. That's not living. So if you think you're going to come up here and you're going to live on rodents or you're going to live on squirrels, that's not reality. That's far, far from reality. The same thing with rabbits. Yes, we have a large rabbit population, but without fat in your meal, rabbits are very lean. You will starve to death eating rabbits. It's a known fact. So you could come up here, you could shoot 100 rabbits, and you could eat 100 rabbits. At the end of the 100 rabbits, you're still going to be a starving pilgrim. So don't make into your plan that you're going to run to the woods and that's where your bug out's going to be. You're going to build yourself a flimsy shelter like you see on a lot of YouTube channels, and you're going to go out and trap some mice and maybe get yourself a rabbit or two. It's not going. That's not reality. That looks good on TV. That it doesn't look good to me. I am amazed that how many of those people head out into the bush unprepared for those shows. Like I've been watching Alone, the series Alone. You want to ask them before they go, have you ever watched this show before? I mean, especially now where there's so many seasons on Alone. I don't know how many, 10 or 12 or something like that. You want to ask them, people that are going, did you watch any of the shows beforehand, before you signed up? Because it's all there. All the mistakes were made ahead of time. It's a little bit windy. The wind wants to blow my door open. All the mistakes are made ahead of time by other people. So why not learn from their mistakes? And that's what this channel, I hope, is about, and I hope what comes across. Yes, I've thrown a lot of skills out there, and I push a lot of tools, and I push a lot of this. But it's for your area. Figure out your area, where you live, whether it's a 50 miles radius or a 25-mile radius, or the city park where gray squirrels are running around. That's a meal. Doesn't mean you're going to live on them because there's only so many gray squirrels in a park. But it's still a meal. And like I said, bugging out up in the big woods, you're not going to get very far. I would doubt that you would make it a week. Maybe some of you stronger ones, you might a little longer, but you're going to be a starving pilgrim in the wintertime if you haven't made plans the previous year. Everything you see on this channel is I have made plans the previous year. You see me now in some of my videos. I've been working on eel traps in preparation for eel season. That was started last summer. The same thing with this fish house that I'm setting in. These aren't just comfortable places to sit. This is part of a long-range plan when the crap hits the fan. Without something like this, it's a whole lot more difficult to set out on the lake and catch your supper. It doesn't matter if you've got to fish all day long. You can be comfortable in here and you can catch your supper. So this is part of a long-range plan of mine and has been for 50 years. I got my first fish house when I was, I think, about 14 years old. I built a smaller one earlier than that, but I actually purchased a fish house sitting on the lake for $15 off a fella. He just didn't want to pull his shack off the lake. That's all that boiled down to. So I gave him $15. I used the shack for the rest of the winter, and then I pulled it off the lake. But bugging out to the forest and thinking you're going to make it is not it. So my idea, like I said in that last video, is I want people to take their head out of the sand, look around and see what's going on around us. Because from where I'm setting, it's not looking very good. That's my own personal thought, my own personal opinion, but I just don't live that way. And that's why I build these videos, and that's why I try to put in here skills and tools and everything. But I can't stress enough, they're skills and techniques for where you live. Unless you have already made the move several years earlier, coming up here and starting from scratch and bugging out to the mountains or the big woods, it's just not going to work. So if you like this kind of video, please throw me a bone, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next one.